feel like if I ever left Jeffrey, he would possibly do something crazy like kill me or hurt me or try to, in any way he can to keep me. He wants to keep me very much in this little Jeffrey bubble that no one's allowed in unless you get past him first. I don't have any friends. I don't talk to my mom. He's very comfortable when I'm pregnant because nobody wants the big pregnant lady. Jeffrey locked me in the basement. I was supposed to be going somewhere that night, and he ran past me upstairs and held the door shut. I was pounding on the door and saying, let me out of the basement, and he was telling my kids, Mommy's crazy right now, and we just need to keep her down there until she calms down. I feel trapped with him. I feel like I can't leave. I've had 2 orders of protection against him. Once, when I made him leave our house, he left before the cops got there, and I went up to go check on the kids. The phone rang, and I picked up the phone, and it was my son saying, can Daddy and I come home now? And I didn't even know that he had taken my son out of the bed. He's the one out to get me, not to stand beside me. He belittles me. Jeffrey calls me a slut and a whore and trailer trash. You have nothing. Without me, you can't survive. It's getting harder and harder and harder to even smile at him, let alone love him. My biggest fear is that I'll move out, I'll get my own place, it'll start to get better, and then I'll look out my window and he'll be across the street, parked in a car.
So you feel like you got nowhere to go. Tell me about him locking you in the basement.
I was supposed to go somewhere, and he ran past me. I don't know, we had like a little argument in the basement, and he went past me and went up the stairs, and he held the door shut. And he just held it shut. And my kids are outside screaming, why do you have Mom locked in the basement? And I probably was screaming and yelling at him, and he ran up the stairs and held the door shut and was telling my kids that I was crazy. And that I just needed to calm down first before he could let me out. And I ended up kicking a hole in the door with my boot, and then he tells me that, see, you kicked a hole in the door. You're crazy. Look at the damage you caused to our house. And I remember thinking, well, I had to get out of the basement. I had kids upstairs crying and wondering why I was in the basement.
Okay,
and all I could think
you
of
were
was
going to explain this. Go ahead.
No. She was at that point very physical towards me. She was standing in front of me. She was standing in front of me. She has thrown things at me. She said some horrible things, and she was standing in front of me, and she wants me to confront her physically, and I won't. So because she was bumping up against me and she wanted me, I just wanted past. So I left, I went downstairs, I turned around, I came back up, the kids were screaming. So I held the door for a second. I told the kids, get up to their room for a second. Mommy and Daddy are fighting. She kicked a hole through the door. She came out. She yelled at me. She screamed at me. And I walked away.
What is your point? What is your point, Jeff? Seriously, I'm trying to help you here. Do you hear what you're saying? What gives you the right to imprison your wife in the basement? What gives you that right? In your head, something gives you that right. What do you say in your head that says, I have the right to do these things? I have the right to humiliate her in front of her friends. I have the right to get her fired. I have the right to lock her in the basement. I have the right to violate her privacy by turning up the thermostat and watching her. I have the right to lie to her in hopes of getting her pregnant to keep our marriage together for another round. I have the right to track her with a GPS and call her mother and brother and call her whore and tramp and slut. What in your head tells you this is right? What in your head tells you that that's a reasonable thing to do?
Until I'm doing it, it seems very unreasonable, and then when I'm in the midst of it, it is what it is, and then it's over, and I know that I'm going to be in trouble for it.
And trouble for it means that you're going to have an argument, but then you're going to send flowers the next day, or you're going to go buy her an outfit, and you think that makes it okay.
I've bought her things we can't afford. I've sent flowers every day. I've done all kinds of things to try to say I'm sorry, including be here today. I need to, I don't know how to stop.
Look, a dozen roses doesn't really erase being locked in the basement.
Especially when you bring them to my desk and go through my desk at work while you're doing it.
Do you have a story or a question for me? Click the link in the description and tell me what in the world is going on.